We good?
Back on?
Andrew?
Sure. Mr. Camilleri?
Yeah, I would just like to make a few more council comments. I don't like to bring up negativity. I'm not going to bring up any negativity. I was the one that questioned the pumping station, and I question it because I could talk firsthand. I've had raw sewage back up in my basement. I do live in the flood area, and I've been flooded. I have to speak for, I don't want to be selfish, it's not just me, it's my neighborhood. It's quite a few people. And I don't want to see the pump station get put on the back burner. Okay, I questioned why it hasn't been on our agenda for 2 meetings. I want it there. It's something that needs to be addressed, and if something needs to be fixed, it needs to be fixed for the better of the people. So I'm just speaking on the pump station firsthand because I live in it. And I just wanted to touch on Veterans Field as well, too. Yeah, we upped the bond, but I just hope there's enough money to do a few more things there, you know, I mean, and I want to be transparent with the public. We don't have figures in on that, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. You know, we're kind of shooting from the hip. And the main concern there, to me, will be the bathroom situation, because I want to put my name on it, too. And, you know, everybody's going to say, oh, you did it right, you did it wrong, whatever. But I want to feel in my gut that it's being done right. And I want to see a plan go 100%. I spoke about, you know, a major site plan for everything, because I'm still involved there. You know, we do things, then it gets knocked down, and then we redo things. And that's going in reverse, you know. I want to see some kind of master plan for the whole project. We're not going to fix the parking issue, we all know that, but maybe we can make it better. We do need storage for recreation programs, just to store stuff, to put things. I'd love to see a storage facility. The bathrooms, you know, like, we laugh, we joke, whatever. I mean, I've been there on those Saturday recreation games where you could have 700 people there in the course of the whole day event, and, you know, you have the Porto Johns, which really just don't cut it for the women, you know. As a male, I really don't care, but, you know, the bathrooms is an issue, and I don't want to see another 10 years go by, and we're still going to the bathroom in the porta potty. So I want to be transparent with the public on the whole issue. You know, we don't have figures in on these things, and a little bit we're guessing. So I just hope we're guessing right on, and we could go forward and not have 1 phase, 2 phase, 3 phase. Maybe we can touch the 2nd phase and address some of those other issues. That's all. Thank you.
One of the things, one of the resolutions is the authorization of Mr. Costa to actually contact the architect, because these things, in terms of the bathrooms, the renovation of the garage that's there, retrofitting it, and the potential snack stand, are items that need to have conceptual drawings. I mean, what we got was boxes on a piece of paper that said, this is a nice place to put certain things. And I think we all agreed that conceptually it looks nice, those boxes, but now what's inside the boxes, that's what Mr. Costa is being authorized tonight to get done. Mr. Camilleri is 100% correct. We don't have the figures. Getting the figures, I don't know, we're hoping to fast track that also and try and get some figures pretty quickly. But I personally don't want to be in danger of getting these figures next year when we lose that $400,000, which may in fact be the cost of retrofitting everything. So, and we also must know that we are on October 31st, I believe, is the deadline for additional open space grant. We've been told there is some money there, because what some towns have done is they have obtained grant money and not used them within the time frame that they were allotted, and it goes back in the pot. And that's exactly kind of how we got that first $400,000. So there are towns that haven't used it. The pot's getting a little bit bigger, and we're hoping to come up and take a little more of that, which would, again, cut down on the amount of money that we would have to use out of that potential bond. So ordinance...
Excuse me, Councilor,
yes.
through the chair.
Yes.
May the mayor have time to speak? Comments, please.
Let's see, football game starts in 5 minutes, but yes.
For that, I'm going to talk for 25. Get back in. I would like to say to the public, hearing all these past televised meetings, I call this time of year silly season. Silly season. where people come out because it's election year. The first year I was reelected, I sat with a Republican and a Democratic council. I do not consider Saddlebrook D or R's or I's. I consider us as one town moving forward together. The first year and a half that I sat with the council 3 years ago, we didn't have anyone coming to the public meetings. There were no complaints. If there was a problem that came through my office, I called a meeting with the neighborhoods. We would resolve them. I take offense to the negativity from some of our public speakers at these meetings. And I take offense because I don't believe anyone sitting out there in the public or anyone sitting up here are liars. Okay? So I would never accuse the general public nor the speakers of being liars. So I take offense that we, the leaders of Saddlebrook, are being called liars. And I would like the officer to remove anyone that interrupts my conversation. Please, immediately. Okay? Thank you. Now, we talk about transparency. We talk about meetings. We talk about, a number was quoted of how much each person gets a week for health. Well, I can tell you people, being mayor, and I'll speak for myself because I am in that position, it's a 24/7 job. Being a council person, I've also experienced that. And
Sylvia,
these
you can stay.
people,
Stay.
you can stay.
Hold on
I
one
just
second. I'm
ask
just gonna-
that if anybody speaks and
Chairman,
interrupts me, I want them moved.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, we've given warnings, and not to anybody in particular, but this is where we conduct business. You see us once a month on TV. There are people that come regularly. We have more than one meeting a month. But whether you like us or not, whether you think we're doing a great job or doing a horrible job, this is important items. And we're talking about millions of dollars. And people say we're liars, we're thieves, we're tramps. Think what you want, but this is where we do our business. We have one regular meeting a month. And by speaking out of turn when the meeting is closed, you got 10 minutes to say your piece. Call us whatever you want. I didn't stop anyone from making all these possibly slanderous comments because you have a right to say what you want. I'm not stopping it. But when it's our turn, you gotta let us talk because it's very annoying. It's when this isn't fourth grade where you start talking to your friend in the back and start passing notes. I mean, we're all adults here. There's no children here. So just asking that you act like adults. You've been warned, and I will direct the special officer to remove someone because I think everyone has been adequately warned. Control yourself. Don't talk. Or if you need to discuss something with your neighbor, go outside the room. I mean, this is a very small place. Your voices carry, and it not only is it disrespectful, but it's and annoying, but it's disruptful. So please just try and keep control of yourself. There's no reason for outbursts. Mayor, I'm sorry for interrupting you.
Thank you. So as I was saying earlier, the council, we may meet twice a month. We do have special meetings. But I can also tell you, these people, they don't just sit here twice a month. They're in and out of this town hall. They're on the phones with, the professionals. They're asking questions that appear on the agenda, that appear in the budget. They're stopping in the town hall speaking to Pete as administrator, as clerk. It's a 24/7 job. They're answering phone calls to their constituency. So give credit where credit is due. They take this job very, very seriously, and when their decisions are made, their decisions are made based on their intelligence, the faith of the people that voted them in, and the knowledge that they worked to gain to make a proper decision for the benefit of Saddlebrook. Now, when it comes to Veterans Fields, 20-year history, I've sat here, we've lost the A&P for township use. We could have used that for recreation, we could have used it for town hall consolidated. Why? Because everybody was afraid to take that initial step, okay? We lost across the street another building. Why? And whether there, and I can't remember entirely, there were grants available for the purchases of. Now here we are, even though economically, real estate-wise, prices are down, but they're still not down enough for us to afford them anymore. It's like the story of the fire truck that never passed until it was election time. So anyway, the opportunity now exists, and I don't believe this grant money is 2 years old. It's under 2 years. We haven't had this grant money for 2 years, if it's my understanding. Because I remember...
The contract might have been signed last year.
And that I thought Mr. White made an error on. But we're going to have to check so both of us are better informed, maybe. But I don't believe it was that long ago. I'm getting the high signs, is that?
You're okay.
Okay. Now, we have a person here, Lou Varelli, highly respected by me, longtime friend, hopefully still friends. He and Renee DiMaria took upon recreation as volunteers, commissioners. I sat there years ago as a volunteer, as they did. Two hard-working people. They were at that field 24/7. They came up with ideas. They found volunteers. What we have now as a refreshment stand may not be the Taj Mahal, but let me tell you, when Lou, Renee, and I went in there, and we saw the side of the grill alone that the burgers were being sold from. I mean, we were lucky health-wise we didn't get sued. So, Lou and Renee worked very hard, along with other volunteers of recreation, and they refurbished it. Refurbished it to the point there's a fryer in there. I mean, we went through the building department, we did everything by the book, and we did it for the least cost possible. And let me tell you, it's an improvement. Do we need another new one, a Taj? Hey, I'm a woman. I'd like to have new things. But for now, thank God, health-wise, it's really going well. Now, when it comes to that garage, Lou, Renee, and myself, we had another group of volunteers, and ready to go. Lou was going out, getting prices to retrofit the floor, to retrofit the bathrooms. Had everybody on board. We looked at the monies that were raised on that thermometer all those years ago. God bless my husband in heaven, who was a big part of that. And we looked towards that to rehabilitate. Unfortunately, along came problems. Internally, unofficially saying, I'm so disappointed because that could have been accomplished by now at least under $100,000. So, and I had discussed this with the council. So these discussions on Veterans Fields are not new discussions. These are things that I had hoped in my administration, along with the council, to accomplish. But it's always about money and delay and delay. Now we have this money, the biggest, and through all the years as I've returned to office, and going down there because my granddaughters are cheerleaders, I've seen the games canceled because of the drainage. Why are we putting off an opportunity to do the drainage, turf the fields, have it available for those children, those football players? When the game is canceled, they're upset. And then you know who gets more upset? The parents, when it has to be rescheduled and you have to find a date that interrupts another recreation. So in my heart, this is a long overdue. We have the money for this, and I am so hoping tonight that this council votes to move forward. This is the start of something great that maybe 12 years ago, they couldn't do. Now we're going after it, and I think we should continue. And then we move forward and do the whole planned review, as everyone's stating, a master plan. Now, when it comes to the parking situation, 12 years ago, as the field came into inception, I don't know what the council, the mayor did at that time. Did they go around speaking with the residents? Did they come up with an action plan? Well, my recommendation right now would be, if Norrisan, who has been on board to allow public parking, maybe we should do a better policing job. Maybe instead of having one special there, we should have two. And those two specials, one should be at Dewey and Sampson, directing at the top of Dewey. You can place another special at the entrance of Norrisan, Center Road, and direct the out-of-towners to park in Norrisan, and direct them as well from Sampson Street. You can go a step further and paint yellow lines on Sampson across from the townhouses, but are you hurting those people when they have company or they have a party? Because that yellow line is going to knock out any parking. So if we improve by adding on the specials for directions, you can even have three. One at the top of Dewey, ride down. Sir, you have to move your car. Sir. I mean, that's what it takes. It takes policing. And we have then the ability for parking. If the trailers get moved, there still won't be enough parking to calm down the problems there. But we need policing there. And that, I think, should be a discussion that this council should have with the chief of police and our other officers, the specials, and think about it for the next agenda. Now, the other items coming up are the factors of, we seem to be on information regarding salaries. Well, Township, the contracts in the Township are all negotiated. We are a civil service town. We are titled employees. When the police come in and they do get promoted, there's a salary scale. Well, if it works for the police department, it works for the DPW, and it works for the white collars. So as these promotions come and as they're needed, along with the contracts and along with civil services rule, that happens. Transparency. We have meetings, we have budget meetings. The council gets the budget January 15th, and the whole schedule comes out. If everybody is so concerned, come to those budget meetings, night after night. Know what you're talking about. I feel that right now, the people that have been coming to this podium are misconstruing information to the public. And my advice would be, if you feel that we're not transparent, we're not honest, and we're liars, I challenge you to run in the next election. Because after this election, it will quiet down for 6 months. But trust me, Saddlebrook has an election every 2 years. So the year before or the 9 months before, we're out here and we're leading the public to believe something, because we're throwing out numbers. And guess what? We're all human. I don't have a professor's doctorate degree that I can come here and off the top of my head start answering those questions. For that I apologize, but I do my best with what I know for when I'm asked. So that being said, I'll be glad when November 4th comes and silly season is over. Then I hope all the heads that are out here and the ones that are up here will come together to work for this town and make it progressive, not just for the children, for all the taxpayers, including the seniors. And I'd also like to make this statement. I received a phone call on my cell phone this week, and it was a senior that had called me. It had me very, very concerned, okay, because, and my phone's in the office, but I could have always played it back in public. If any of you people had received this phone call, you would have dropped whatever you were doing, because I really thought it was a major crisis. This was a senior shouting out, crying, "Karen, I need you to come over. Please come over now. You have to come to my house." I got on the phone. I called the person back. Do you know what she was all upset about? Her tax bill. We talked about increasing taxes. This council, myself, Pete, took on quite a bit a number of years ago. And it's been stated here, public TV, you only came in with a zero budget this year because it's election year. No, maybe my plan started 4 years ago after paying off debt. This year's increase was the Board of Education. And we have a mayoral candidate who's president of that board. This lady was begging me. I can't. I have to go to the board. I had another phone call. The lady wanted the Board of Ed to reduce her taxes. I said, I'm sorry. I'll help you through the appeal process because that's all I can do. That's what these jobs are about. Keeping in touch with the human beings out there, the people that don't have the money. And then we sit here and crossfire. Shame on all of us. Anyway, let me get on to some positive things. Because the job just doesn't entail all this rhetoric back and forth at these public meetings for public viewing. There's a lot of other good things happening, a lot of other work being done. I'm sure many of you are aware, or if you're not, I'll make you aware. Leicester Avenue, we had a business coming in the rear, and we had some residents' concerns because of the truck traffic. It happened one day. I was passing about a month or so ago, and I actually had to get out of my car because this tractor trailer was like half in Leicester, half Erie. He didn't know where to go. I stopped, and I went up to the driver, and I said, where do you need to be? You need to be at this Access Global Logics. So anyway, it happened. Captain McNally also had the same incident that day. So I wrote to the company asking that they install a sign with an arrow at Leicester pointing to the easement road that the company has to direct the tractor trailers to. And they were very nice. They returned the letter, and they're following through on it with the question. So there's other things in our job description that we do handle. And that's one instance. Now, we have a great new program coming up called CERT. These are out. CERT is Community Emergency Response Team. Unfortunately, our OEM and second in command with him were not available here this evening to make the presentation due to their jobs. They made a great presentation to the council, and I believe we're in support of it. And if you're asking what CERT is all about, CERT is a new program that's being instituted in the Township of Saddlebrook by benefit of their efforts, where volunteers from age 16 to 55 can participate. You will be trained in Saddlebrook, and you would be responsible, if you choose, at the time to help in any disasters. Disasters being snowstorms, disasters being tropical storms, disasters being hurricanes, anything at all. What are the benefits? Well, we certainly, for the small town we are and the few employees we have, we certainly need assistance. I've walked through the town after disasters, even though we had our volunteer fire out there, our volunteer ambulance people out there, we had our police paid employees, the township officials walked, it still wasn't enough. There are people out there in need. If we can get this program going off the ground, we can be almost a model for other towns. But additionally so, into the assistance it will give the general public, we will be able to apply for funding that could perhaps get us some generators, which are desperately needed during times of disaster here when the power goes out. So there are the pamphlets outside as you're leaving on the table. Take a moment, spread the word, because whether we get a handful, we are starting the program, and it more than likely will start at the end of October and be held at the senior center. We could go to Mawa for the classes, but then there's shorter classes for a longer length. So we can do this in 1 or 2 days, and you'll get your certification. Hopefully I'll have the OEM in when he is available. Again, to just add what Andrew said about the crossing guards, we had our meeting Tuesday, and please tell your friends this texting and phone, disastrous when it comes to that. Now, on September being the preparedness month, that meaning, everybody, prepare yourself for the change of weather. That's why the CERT came up now. But I'd like to also make note out there, it's also Child Cancer Awareness Month. 720 million children get afflicted with cancer every year. And the city has everything lit up in gold. Gold is the color, because now we're getting pink for breast cancer, blue. And so, you know, when you go to bed at night and say your prayers, pray for those children. And when Ed's Tavern has St. Jude's, contribute, because 720 million, I've been blessed in my family. And talk about blessings, we have volunteers for Angels Soccer, which are for the Rainbow Children, open for the town and out-of-towners. That's on September 13th at Avon at 3 o'clock. If anyone would like to volunteer to help out for registration, whatever, I usually go to help. You can be there at 2. Pep rally starts tomorrow night, 6:30 at Veterans Field, and we're wishing all the teams good luck and the cheerleaders to have fun and stay safe as they build their pyramids. Also, we've had meetings here in Town Hall this week with the railroad. They will be on or about September 27th, Midland Avenue tracks heading towards New Paley Avenue will be repaired. It will not be closed. The police will be able to accommodate just the one lane and the stop and the go. However, on about September 29th, and if it does start September 29th, it will run till October 4th, Saddle River Road near Railroad Avenue will be worked on. Saddle River Road will be closed from the railroad tracks to Market Street. The detour will go from Railroad Avenue to Rochelle Avenue back onto Market. So that they're hoping operation is a 4 to 5 day situation there. And the Mayor's Youth Committee is reestablishing itself. We have our president here this evening. Congratulations, he started college this week. And we're kicking off our new year on September 27th, a Saturday at 11 a.m. I'm inviting anyone that's 4th grade and up, and we do accept under if need be, but we're going from 4th grade to high school, and I'm fortunate to have our new college student that's picking up the ball and running with it. So this year I think they will be focusing on business beautification, and we probably will be including some of our environmental children. So, Mr. Simaluka, I took more than 25 minutes. And where was that, football or baseball?
I think it's halftime now.
I don't know, maybe.
I think we went from kickoff to halftime.
But thank you very much. God bless everyone.
Thank
Happy
you, Mayor.
school year.
Just say one word, 2 words.
Is it going to be less than what she said?
Oh, less.
Okay.
Just quickly, I wanted to correct some information that's been given out at the public meeting. The PBA received a 2% raise. It's not a 3% raise in their latest contract. And the white collar, blue collar, and school marshals, the other non-PBA members, received a 0 increase in 2011 and a 2% 2012, 13, and 14, which averages 1.6%. And tonight, and it's been happening in the past, being said that I'm lying to the council, to the public. My answer to the question, and we're going back 2 years ago, a year ago, was in context of people requesting a raise and the mayor and council granting it. We didn't get into title changes, longevity increases, or somebody moving up a step. That's contractual. That was not the answer that I was giving or going into contractual questions, but people made a request for additional and justified their reason. We have a great group of employees. They do a lot for this township. They do a lot for the residents of this town. The DPW's out there during snow, water emergencies, sewer emergencies. The white collar people are here. We had the water emergency during the summer. It was their day off. One phone call to each of them. They were here within an hour. It gives me the opportunity to thank our employees because they do a great job for the residents of Saddlebrook. Thank you.
Okay, next order of business is the introduction of ordinance amending Chapter 206 entitled Zoning, Section 9.42 entitled AH3 Affordable Housing Residential District, Subparagraph F, Maximum Height, be passed and adopted on first reading. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Halka with the motion. Second.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Conti. Roll call.
Councilman Camilleri.
Yes.
Councilman Conti.
Yes.
Councilman Halco.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer. Council President Samaluka.
Yes.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that the ordinance amending Chapter 206 entitled Zoning, Section 9.42, entitled AH3 Affordable Housing Residential District, Subparagraph F, Maximum Height, heretofore passed on first reading, be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on the 23rd day of September 2014 at 7:00 p.m., or as soon thereafter as the meeting can be reached at the Municipal Building, 93 Market Street. And that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of a time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Halko.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Conti. Roll call.
Councilman Camilleri.
Yes.
Councilman Conti.
Yes.
Councilman Halco.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer.
Yes.
Council President Samaluka.
Yes, and just so everyone's aware, the date for the second reading will be Tuesday, September 23rd. So if anyone wants to come, that's not the regular meeting. And just for another clarification, it's called special meeting because it's not a regular meeting. There may not be anything special being discussed there. I know there's some snarky comments out there, what's so special about the special meeting. That's what you call it when it's not a regular meeting. So just so you're aware that at least the three ordinances here, I don't know if they're going to pass, but at least one of them has passed. But whatever ordinances have passed on first reading, the second reading will take place on Tuesday, September 23rd, this building, this room, at 7 p.m. Next order of business is the introduction of ordinance amending the code of the Township of Saddlebrook to prohibit smoking on public property. Be passed and adopted on first reading. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Camilleri with a second by Ms. Mazer. Roll call.
Councilman Camilleri.
Yes.
Councilman Conti.
Yes.
Councilman Halco.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer.
Yes.
Council President Samaluka.
Yes.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that the ordinance amending the code of the Township of Saddlebrook to prohibit smoking on public property, heretofore passed on first reading, be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on the 23rd day of September 2014 at 7:00 p.m., or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the Municipal Building, 93 Market Street, and that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of a time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Do I have a motion for?
Second.
Okay, Ms. Mazer and Mr. Camilleri. Roll call.
Councilman Camilleri.
Yes.
Councilman Conti.
Yes.
Councilman Halco.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer.
Yes.
Council President Samaluka.
Yes. Third ordinance on for tonight. Next order of business is introduce bond ordinance to authorize the undertaking of various improvements to Veterans Field in, by, and for the Township of Brook in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $2,100,000 to pay the cost thereof, to appropriate a county grant to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds be passed and adopted on first reading. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Halco.
I'll second it.
Mr. Conti, roll call.
Councilman Camilleri,
Yes.
Councilman Conti,
Yes.
Councilman Halco.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer.
Yes.
Council President Samaluka.
Yes.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Brook that the bond ordinance to authorize the undertaking of various improvements to Veterans Field in, by, and for the Township of Brook in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $2,100,000 to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to appropriate a county grant, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds, heretofore passed on first reading, be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on the 23rd day of September, 2014, at 7:00 p.m., or sooner after as the matter can be reached at the Municipal Building, 93 Market Street, and that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Halco.
second it.
Second by Mr. Conti. Roll call, please.
Councilman Camilleri,
Yes.
Councilman Conti,
Yes.
Councilman Halco,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer.
Yes.
Council President Samaluka.
Yes. We have some items that are not on the consent agenda?
One, and a bill. We have two resolutions that are being pulled. Resolution number 1 and resolution number 4.
Okay. Sure.
All items listed with an asterisk are considered routine and non-controversial by the Township Council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a council member or member so requests it, in which case the item or items will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. The one motion signifies adoption of all resolutions, receive and file letters, correspondence, reports, and approval of minutes and applications.
Is there a motion for passage of the consent agenda?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Conti, second by Mr. Halco. All in favor?
Aye.
Any objections? Passes unanimously. Read the two
We have
resolutions.
resolution number 1, which is the cancellation of an unexpended balance of a bond ordinance, 1429-07, $950,000. That was for the library renovation and expansion.
Okay, the original bond, I believe, was was it 2
About $2 million.
About $2 million. This just goes to show you that when you bond something, you don't always spend it. So we are canceling the unexpended balance, which is almost $1 million. So pretty much half of what was bonded is being canceled out. So although the $2 million goes into our bonding number, $1 million is pretty much going to come off. And that's what I'm hoping to happen with Veterans Field if we get additional funding from the county. So I'll take is there a motion on that?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Conti?
Second.
Second by Mr. Halco. Roll call.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Councilman Conti?
Yes.
Councilman Halco?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer?
Yes.
Council President Samaluka.
Yes.
And we have bills, Cost Engineering, as posted on the bulletin board.
Okay, is there a motion for payment of the cost engineering bill?
Motion.
Motion, Ms. Mazer. Second by Mr. Conti. Roll call.
Councilman Camilleri?
Yes.
Councilman Conti?
Yes.
Councilman Halco?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazer?
Yes.
Council President Samaluka.
Abstain. Okay. You know what, we get so confused with old business and new business. I would, if anyone's got any old business or new business, you can put them together. I really don't think it makes much of a difference. You can just say if you think it's old or new. But, huh? Okay. Anybody? No? Just me? Okay. Old business. Cheerleaders, they came in last month looking for help. I want to thank Pete, the administration, and definitely Dr. Katz from the Board of Ed, who I've never met, and I had the opportunity to reach out to him yesterday to personally thank him for helping out the children. They are able to use long school, although there was a big problem with that, but they are able to use long school, I believe, for their entire season. And also, I don't want to forget that Jerry Taylor was very involved in trying to get that accomplished, and Jerry is also continuing to meet with other facilities to see if we can take this into next year so we don't run into that last-minute type of problem that we apparently ran into this year. So thanks to all involved, and again, I want to shout out to Jerry and also to Dr. Katz, who was, appreciated getting a phone call. A lot of times we talk about board versus council. I don't understand why that was. I don't think it is anymore. There are good people on the board, good people on the council. No reason we can't work together. I agree with the people that have said we got to work together. 100% in agreement with that. So thank you, Dr. Katz. In terms of maybe new business, and I promise it'll be quick. Just some of the resolutions that were passed tonight. We are trying to sell that fire truck that is currently clogging up that garage at the Veterans Field. So that went out to bid. We didn't get our minimum bid, so we are rebidding it, correct?
It's in the paper, right?
It's in the paper. I want to thank Councilman Halco for accepting the appointment to once again be our community development rep with the county. We are authorizing the specs and bid for the personal safety system for the fire department. It came in a little bit over what we thought, but we're going to get the specific specs and bids for that. As I said before, we're authorizing Mr. Costa to get the conceptual plan for the amenities or additions to Veterans Field besides the drainage, turfing, and the field itself, everything over and beyond the field. And also that we have approved, we have an excess fire department. The ambulance corps asked for it, if they could use it, and that was part of what we did, was we approved that. So now the ambulance corps will have an additional vehicle with which to service the community. Okay, Mr. Conti?
Bob, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. The pump station. I know we're going, and we got to put valves in. Where are we with that? Because, I agree with Joe there. That's got to really get done.
Just to quell some fears, we have the ability to clean out that wet well. So whether this valve goes in or doesn't go in, it's not going to affect, it's not going to back up any sewage. We still have the ability to do so. What this valve will do will speed up the process and actually reduce the cost of actually doing it, because instead of trying to shut down the station by inserting a plug into the inflow, all you're going to be doing is turning the valve and shutting the flow off that way. But again, I spoke to some contractors actually today. I took the bull by the horn after our meeting the other night, called different manufacturers, called the emergency contractor that we now have for the borough to come up with what we think is the cheapest solution to do this. I would say by the middle of next week, we will have a game plan on whether we're going to use an insertion valve, whether we're going to stop the flow, cut the pipe coming into the station, depending on how to do with that, one way or another. And then this will be sped up very quickly. But just to quell your fears, this has nothing to do with the ability of pumping that station. The station is working, the station is pumping. It's during high flow events when you get tremendous amounts of rain, the station cannot keep up with the inflow that comes in, whether it's from a legal connection, sump pumps, whether it's because our system is leaky when it rains, and you have infiltration in the pipes. That's when the issues come about. And again, you're at the head of the class as far as the force main, and you have everybody downstream that's hooked into it. Excuse me, Lodi, Woodridge, actually South Hackensack, there's a small station that ties in there, and then eventually 6 miles away from here, it ties into the Safe Valley system. So if their system is surcharged, it obviously comes back up, and we lose some of the ability to pump at maximum flow at that. But again, this is to make things easier and safer, but we can still do what we need to do.
I have one more question now.
Okay.
The railroad's coming in through Market Street. Can they do that at night so the traffic flow? You know, I mean, Market Street and by Saddlewood Road really gets backed up over there.
Well, they're coordinating it to make sure public service does not interfere because we had all of that problem.
Right.
And we did
And-
make a request for a
yes.
police officer to be here during peak times at
They
Saddlewood
can't-
Road
But
Market.
sometimes, like some major roads, they do it at night
No,
because of the traffic flow.
Yeah, in this particular case, because
Based
they're
on-
redoing the track,
Okay.
they're the crossing,
Mhm.
that's going to be closed, they're going to be ripping it out, they're putting a concrete pad, I believe, on each side, and taking out one section of the track. As they mentioned when they were here, there's one track that will be removed.
Moved.
By closing the road, they will get it done quicker, they will do this within a week. I remember it was 10 to
Yes.
2 weeks, 10 days to 2 weeks years ago.
10
when they
to
did
2
it.
weeks. Now it's
And they'll be
reduced.
working maybe 24 hours a day at certain times, but there's no way of avoiding.
Because if they
not
did it
closing
at
the road.
night, Rich, it would only prolong the project.
They couldn't open
So
it.
they're
I don't think they
shutting
can
down the
open.
road Totally then.
Yes.
Midland Avenue,
It's
they're doing a
required.
partial shutdown with flagman. The police will be directing traffic. That's one day, 24 hours.
And then the gentleman from the railroad that was here the other day at the meeting had also stated he's concerned that there's some utilities beneath the tracks on Midlands because we keep getting those sinkholes so frequently. So he was going out there with Mike Calderon to check, and if that be the case, then they're going to look to remedy that so that the work they do may last a bit longer than it has been. But that was an area of concern, so we'll be getting feedback possibly on that. And if they don't find any of the utilities, they'll still be moving forward with the project. And please note, these dates are tentative. We're fairly certain, close to those dates, but they could change a day earlier, a few days later. And we will have the signs up advising all traffic that this will be occurring between such and such a date, and then we'll be reaching out through all our means of communication to the public.
Sure. Signs will be up.
Yes.
It'll be on the Township website,
Yes.
the TV, the police website, I'm sure, Township Facebook page.
As soon as
So-
we get a confirmation of the date, start date, that's when it goes.
Okay. Is anybody else?
And it's been coordinated with the police department and the fire chief, because they were also here at the meeting.
Also, the mayor had mentioned that CERT, that's also information is also available through the township website, and I think the OEM website. And the last thing under new business would be happy to say that we talked about bond rates. We were able to renegotiate the current rate from 1.3 to just about halfway. I think it's 0.7%, and just saved a quick $60,000 by doing that. And as you saw at one of the meetings with Mr. Roga, we're hoping to save quite a bit of money based on refinancing some of the old bonds in the area of $1 million. So it's not just what you spend, it's what you can save somewhere in all these financing deals. Right.
I just want to thank my son for coming out last minute. George Kawadi had a last minute emergency he had to take care of, and at 20 to 7 I called my son to come, since we only have 2 volunteers for the TV station. So if anybody's interested, contact Pete, give him your name, and because we can use volunteers. Right now I have 2, and myself, and Andrew fills in, does announcing sometimes, but we can use people to help us out.
And I was able to figure out how much money we saved without using the calculator, so I'm good. I will entertain a motion to close the meeting.
Motion.
Ooh, I think Ms. Mazur spoke first. Mr. Conti was second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any objections?